Edusuite is an AI-powered school management system for K-12 to college with a growing number of school partners. Niel Dagondon is the president and co-founder at Edusuite. So, hello Niel, I'm very happy. We're very honored to have Edusuite dito sa Startup Podcast.
Thanks, Johnny. I'm happy to be invited and talk more about yung company namin.
Yeah. So, let's start with ano ang Edusuite?
Well, Edusuite, it's a school management system. So siguro a lot of your listeners might be students. They're familiar with learning management systems, diba? Like yung Canvas or Google Classrooms. They're what you call learning management systems where the teachers get to interact with their students. School management system, on the other hand, is yung software that's used to run yung back-end ng schools. So when you talk about back-end ng schools, that includes yung pag-enroll mo or pag-apply mo for the school, diba? When you apply to the school, the forms that you fill out get sent to the registrar. Someone from the registrar or admissions teams will review it. Tapos, kompleto na ba yung requirements mo? That's one. Tapos, pag mag-enroll ka na sa school, yun yung gagamitin mo para pumili ng subjects all the way to, I guess, yung sa every term kung may clearances kang kailangan i-fill out, 'di ba, na deficiencies o kaya ano naman kung pag-send out ng assessment mo or statement of account, it's the engine na mag-iisip ano ba yung magiging cost mo for ano ba yung magiging tuition mo for the year, magkano na yung bayaran mo, hindi na bayaran, tapos kung may something pa isi-send out yung statement of accounts to you. So that's one aspect of it. So marami siyang other aspects like managing ng grades for the teachers, 'di ba? Pag-build ng transcript of records mo, that's another one, and at the same time paggawa ng schedules at saka paggawa ng magiging like classes na ino-open for the following semester. So those are some of the functionality na in-offer ng Edusuite.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious no kasi I myself, I'm a teacher. I actually teach in UP Diliman and I actually currently use yung school management system ng UP Diliman. And actually, it's parang you're making the education media digital, totally digital. Ando na lahat and I can upload courses, I can manage the grades, I can manage the whole class list, the whole class. So ang question ko is ano ba yung current problems ng traditional school management systems and why is Edusuite trying to disrupt, or why is Edusuite coming into this niche, into this
I guess background ko kasi before I started Edusuite, I was also in education. I was president of a school, of a college for like 6-7 years. And during that time, ako rin mismo naghahanap ng system to help run our school. So, ang dami namin sinubukan when I was trying to find a software for our school, di ba? Nagsubo kami ng trying to like outsource it. That didn't work. We tried other startups. We also looked at some of the local software that's already available. A lot of them are like very outdated, on-premise pa yung solutions, di ba? Wala pang cloud solutions. So hassle yun during the pandemic, di ba? Yung teacher mag-grade, kailangan mo pumunta on-premise. Tapos at the same time, parang a lot of the solutions available sa from other countries naman, the ones from the US, from India, from Singapore, they're not really suited dun sa like reports na yung sa mga demands na hinahanap dito kasi iba naman yung workflow dito, di ba, na defined by CHED yung magiging curriculum for a lot of the subjects at saka at the same time yung mga reports that's being produced for them. Tapos I guess yung behavior then of the students is very different here. I guess pag UP ka libre yung tuition, pero like in other schools na sometimes students enroll, pag mawalan ka ng pera, they drop out, daming nagiging irregular students. Sa UP naman siguro maraming bumabagsak, kaya maraming nagiging irregular students. So siguro one of the traditional, just to give you an example of how the traditional schools would do it, would be, ito na yung flowchart ko, ito yung subjects na napasa ko na. Ano ba yung subjects na kailangan ko i-take para graduate ako ng mabilis? So parang yung schools, ginagawa pa nila manually yun, as in may academic advisor pa, di ba, na, ito i-take mo to kasi offer to, ito once a year lang ina-offer to, so ito i-take mo, ganun. So it's very, very manual, parang high touch siya, na instead of going into the system, sabihin na sa'yo ng system, ito yung i-take mo, dito, nahuhuli ka rito, binagsak mo to before, so i-retake mo na to uli. So, that's one thing. So, ino-automate niya yung process of advising the students. And at the same time, ang nagiging problema with a lot of schools is that ang tagal nila pinaplano, di ba? Ito, available lang to teacher na to Tuesday, Thursday, ito gabi, ito weekends lang. So, parang ang tagal-tagal nila gumawa ng schedule. So, the traditional school would take anywhere from 1 to 2 months to make a schedule. Tapos, pagdating pa ng enrollment period, mali-mali pa yung schedule na ginawa nila kasi nasobrahan sila ng classes, may classes kailangan ma-dissolve or kulang naman ang in-offer nilang subjects para dito. So yung ngayon, yung mga students, nagpe-petition sila or bumangga tong subject na to sa subject na to. So the reason na nangyayari yon is because manual yung paggawa. Parang hindi talaga nila ni-utilize yung power ng computer para solve natin to, di ba? Paano natin gagawin yung schedule so that walang magko-conflict. Yung mga teachers na kailangan magturo at a specified time, nakukuha nila yung subject na gusto nila. And at the same time, alam natin kung ano yung subjects na kailangan ng, especially pag may mga students kang irregular, para ma-minimize natin yung petition, ma-minimize natin yung pag-dissolve ng classes. So, pagdating ng enrollment, wala ka nang iisipin. Yung school administrator pwede nang mag-vacation during enrollment. So, which is parang what happened to a lot of our customers actually, na dati pag enrollment, yun yung pinakamagulo nila. Ang dami nilang, pati yung mga assistant, pati school student affairs, pati guidance counselor, tumutulong sila sa enrollment. Ano? Pero ngayon, yung mga clients namin, enrollment na, vacation muna tayo or outing muna tayo. So, na-automate yung process ng pag-plan at saka pag-enroll at saka
It's a very good explanation actually. I think yung first step nga nung digitalization is yung connectivity. Naging connected yung students and yung teachers online. Pero what Edusuite is really doing now is yung automation part. And hindi lang automation, I think also maybe yung optimization ng scheduling and ng buong process. So how does AI naman come into place? I mean, what really does AI, or how really does AI power itong parang automation and optimization ni Edusuite?
So actually parang resource constraint solving problems. So exactly yung sinasabi mo, yung pag-optimize ng school. Yeah. That's really a big aspect of it. When people talk about AI, they only think about yung parang yung definition ng deep learning, machine learning. Pero there are a lot of other there are a lot of other aspects ng AI din na ina-apply namin dito. So like yun na nga, AI is basically taking over yung di ba, yung how yung a lot of like manual processes, di ba, na is supposed to before it's a human who actually advises the student. Now it's the system that will advise the student na this is the best path na kaya natin i-take. Tapos it will also advise the school na ito yung mga subjects na kailangan natin, ito yung mga teachers who are best to teach these subjects kasi based on our data, pag ito yung teacher na nagtuturo, mataas nagiging student rating niya, maraming pumapasa. Hindi naman maraming pumapasa, pero mataas yung nagiging rating niya. So nagsasuggest siya na ito yung mga teachers na i-loadan natin. Tapos once nakuha mo na yung kung sino yung teachers na liloadan natin, the next step naman is i-optimize na natin yung schedule for the school, di ba? So it's not instant na click mo, mangyayari na kagad yung optimized schedule. You click it, you wait for maybe an hour or sometimes less, sometimes more for the system to be able to come up now. Ito based on like a million different possibilities. Ito yung pinaka-schedule na mag-fit na walang babangga for a vast majority of the students and the teachers. Yeah. So parang yung constraint resolution na yun is something that our system does that actually helps the school, and it actually helps the student kasi yung student naman, advantage for them, they're taking more subjects, nakaka-graduate sila mas mabilis. So for the school naman, mas mabilis nawawala yung mga delayed natin students, we can take in more students, di ba? Or we no longer need to offer these mga classes na sobrang konti na lang may kailangan, naging advisory classes kasi overstaying na to, student na to sa school namin.
Yeah, it's really interesting, no? Kasi yung AI nga, as what you've said. So, meron siyang part usually na parang yung data analytics part, yung machine learning, and then yung decision making, yung optimization. So, I think Edusuite, meron siyang data part din, pero more of din yung like take the inputs of the school, take the schedules, take yung teachers nga, yung resources, and then optimize na to, itong part na to, para maximize yung like utility for everyone in the education system. So let's go naman sa, I want to ask naman, sino na ba yung like current school partners maybe ni Edusuite so that we can know, sino na ba yung mga like gumagamit now kay Edusuite?
So yung clients namin all the way from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao kami, no? So as I said, I used to run a school. So yung school ko was the guinea pig whenever may bagong features kami na itetest, parang niro-roll out namin sa school namin. So yung students naman doon have the, I guess, binebeta test nila yung software. Pero at the same time, that's CIIT College of Arts and Technology sa Quezon City, yung school na yan. There are like primary client, pero since then we've expanded all over. So like our next client was Batangas Eastern College naman, and then like as far north, meron kami sa Isabela, meron kami sa Benguet, sa King's College of the Philippines, yung sa naman sa Global Academy of Technology and Entrepreneurship, nasa Isabela naman siya. We have big universities like Ateneo de Manila, so we run the entire K-12 system na. So we have a couple of universities like University of San Agustin, malaki naman sila sa Iloilo, tapos ano pa ba, yung Manuel L. Quezon University as also one. Tapos as far south as Mindanao, like yung Joji Ilagan, Bien, marami silang schools. It's a chain of schools. So like they have 4 schools that they run in Mindanao. Tapos basically we're all over. 16 schools, 26 campuses na are currently running yung Edusuite system.
Amazing.
So far happy kami kasi wala pang they keep, kasi it's a subscription software, so anytime pwede ka umalis, pero so far lahat ng clients namin have stayed with us. And even yung mga surveys namin with parents and students, they've been very happy na like yung recent survey parang 99.3% satisfaction rating kami. Ganun.
May I just know more lang about yung subscription style nga siya. So like meron siyang parang tiers, or like you can choose the features of
no, it's for the school. Usually parang we just offer them all the features, pero at the same time we only charge them based on how many students enroll in that school. So friendly siya kasi if you're like 1,000 students, you can't afford as much as the bigger schools. You only pay for subscription of 1,000 students na enrolled, so excluding lahat ng teachers. We don't charge for the teachers or any other user. If you're a school naman that has 5,000, 10,000, we charge you for the 5,000 and 10,000 students. So parang it's more fair. Tapos at the same time, the school, it just adds it to the miscellaneous cost ng estudyante, di ba? Tapos yun yung kung ano yung kinolekta nila, that's what they pay us for yung for use of Edusuite.
Yeah, but it's amazing na you're trying really to cover and to help nga yung schools sa different places of the Philippines. And you've also mentioned na hindi lang siya university, hindi lang siya high school. So it's also kind of broad yung like yung parts ng educational system na you can help. So, and I also saw that there are these products of Edusuite, yung Edusuite K-12, Edusuite Uni, and Edusuite Admissions. So, aside from the magkakaiba yung parang mga parts of the system na kino-cover nila, meron ba silang differences sa functionalities?
Yeah, well, definitely there's a lot of like very unique requirements like sa K-12 schools, diba? Like sa K-12 schools, number one, it's very heavy on grading. Parang bawat performance task at written work at whatever kailangan mo i-grade, tapos DepEd has a standard way of computing the final grade, tapos each school would have a standard way of transmuting that grade into a report card. So that's one, tapos of course yung another aspect ng K-12 is that yung guardians are the ones monitoring. So may guardian app, di ba, na tinitingnan nila kung ano ba yung payables and grades ng mga anak nila or yung mga alaga nila. And of course, the reports that are being generated by the system are the ones being submitted to DepEd, yung mga SF1s, SF2s, etc. Whereas yung college naman, ang primary difference would be wala siyang parent app. It's usually the student that actually enrolls for themselves. The grading is a lot more flexible, di ba? Parang minsan teacher parang, oh, wala na tayong quiz, parang kung ano final paper mo, gagrade lang kayo, yun na yung final grade mo. So very flexible yung grading natin, basta 1 to 4 tayo or 1 to 5 tayo or 0 to 4 or something. Tapos, so that's the simple part. Pero what makes college more complicated naman is yung mga flowcharts nila, yung mga the way na parang maraming klaseng estudyante, di ba? May naka-block, may irregular students, may electives, may mga ganon complications, may advising. So logistically, the enrollment happens multiple times a year, whereas yung K-12, once a year lang. So simple yung logistics niya, pero throughout the year, ginagamit siya for other things like grading, announcements, clearances, and those things. So admissions naman, it's a way for schools to manage lahat ng nag-apply sa eskwelahan. So parang, di ba, parang, we can only have 1,000 freshmen this year, pero 1,500 nag-a-apply or 2,000, di ba? So a way for them to view the requirements before sila i-admit sa eskwelahan or record ko ano man yung admissions exam nila or mga ganong-ganong bagay, di ba? Mga interviews, mga paghingi ng recommendation letters from their past schools or pag-encode ng mga grades nila from their previous schools are handled by the admission system. So maraming ginagawa ang schools in the back end na hindi nyo nalalaman, di ba? That's why maraming staff ang school, pero we automate a lot of those things for the school, so it makes their life easier.
I'm very curious lang. I'm curious about the backstories, like kung paano ba talaga nagsimula si Edusuite. But given those 3 products, I just want to ask really, alin sa tatlong ito yung parang pinakauna and like how
the college version, kasi yung background ko, di ba, I came from managing school, so alam ko na yung mga problema ng college beforehand, di ba? So yung co-founder ko naman, Kalen, he's the CEO of Origin Branch, so it's a consulting company, so they make software for Globe, Smart, BDO, BPI, mga iba-iba pang ibang like Accenture, Google, mga ganon. So parang he was also involved in education kasi he was part of yung RQAT, yung like the regulating agency of CHED na nag-approve ng mga computer science courses. So nakita niya na yung problema ko in managing my school is also the same problem. Pumunta ka man sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, di ba? It's the same problem. So he was trying to build a solution. I was also trying to build one. Sabi ko, collaborate tayo. So that's when we built yung first software namin back in 2017. It was a prototype. So we spent like 8 months building a prototype, ran a test dun sa school namin, and when the test was successful, of course maraming problema within that time, so ang daming naging sunog. When it was pero naayos naman, when it was successful, nilapit namin siya sa DOST, sa Department of Science and Technology. Look, there's a prototype, matutulungan niya yung mga ibang schools, and at that time parang sakto yung timing kasi it was their first branch, it was their first time giving grants. So at the same time na nag-start sila ng mga innovation centers, di ba? They also started having a fund to give grants not just to inventors, dati puro inventors lang. Now we're also giving grants to startups. So pinakita namin, sige, okay yan, we'll give you money, turn that prototype into a commercial product. So 1 year later, 2018, that's when we released yung first product namin, yung Edusuite College or Edusuite Uni na siya ngayon kasi we have postgraduate and mga short courses din doon. So we released that 2018, tapos when we some of our clients that took that on, sabi, gumawa naman kayo for K-12 kasi a lot of schools, di ba, may college, meron din silang K-12. Kasi yung school namin, kailangan din namin ng software, pangit din ng mga ibang available na software for our K-12. So ginawa namin yung K-12 software, tapos we were expanding since then kasi we released to even the small schools like yung mga Montessori's or international schools are also using yung software namin for K-12.
And how about naman yung sa admission? Kailan yun na problem?
Sa admission, it came with yung namin, very first big clients namin. They said na, itong college and for K-12, these are with the assumption na yung mga estudyante na to are already admitted into the school. Pero we need a software to help us manage those naman na nag-a-apply sa eskwelahan namin. So that's how admissions was built. And then parang and then parang from there we give it as an optional add-on kung gusto nila, 'di ba? Parang you have college or either college or K-12 or both. And if you want a way to manage these students, you can also get yung admissions. Pero it's unique usually for schools na medyo malalaki na yung ano nila. Mararami nang nag-a-apply sa eskwelahan. Kasi kung maliit ka lang, minsan they just do it manually.
Yeah. I really like yung story. I think it explains, it actually parang it materializes yung story of a startup. First, you started with a problem at your own school, you solved it, and then you scaled. And then you found other problems ng mga other customers. And then you adapt you evolve your product into it.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, even before the school was actually a way to address my own problem. Kasi before I started the school, I was in game development. So we started like the first game development company in the Philippines, sabi nga nila. And then a lot of the people taking up our entrance admissions exam tuloy, yung applicant exam namin, were failing kasi they were hindi parang industry-based yung programming. I'm not talking about UP or some of the big universities, pero like a lot of these other schools, very theoretical, like they were taught programming not by programmers, diba? Hindi marunong mag-program minsan. So a lot of them were failing our exams, and we were complaining about it after association meetings. After association meetings, so sabi ko, solve ko na lang tong problema na to. Ako gagawa ng school that's more industry-based yung tinuturo. So yun, we were able to help 1,000 students at a time, 1,500 students at a time. Pero with Edusuite, we saw it as parang instead of helping 1,000 students at a time, we can help 1,000 schools at a time to modernize their technology. And if we help 1,000 schools and affect all their students, we can actually make a bigger impact in terms of education in the Philippines. Hopefully, that's the dream.
Yeah, amazing, really amazing. Ang galing pala kasi I wanted to ask how you got into the education sector. Pero you explained nga na it started with your problems from the game development company. And actually, that's also like how we build the country, the society, diba? I mean, we have a problem, and education, doon dadaming mga skilled people natin, and we train them, we equip them with the skills. And what's really amazing with that is that we also help build the economy, we also help build jobs, we also help create jobs, and nagiging cycle na siya, education and then industry. I really think that's amazing.
Nagiging cycle siya, pero yun, masama na isipin na medyo nahuhuli tayo sa cycle na yun. Right now, there's really a lot of demand for tech, di ba? Tech talent, engineers, business analysts, quality people. And ngayon lang talaga siya sumisikat. For the longest time, parang people's interest in tech has been declining. Tapos ngayon na kailangan na siya in a lot of jobs. Nagkakaubusan ng tao and people. So like now really is really the right time to get into tech.
Yeah. And going back
not now, like a decade ago is really the right time.
Yeah, but we can still we're still rising up naman as a country. Going back sa Edusuite, I'm also curious lang din. Ano ba yung future plans into building like maybe yung AI-powered features, or like ano ba yung maybe next steps nyo into improving Edusuite? Maybe magkaroon kayo ng other products pa in the future, just to know some of your plans maybe.
Actually, yung Edusuite is not our end-all product now. Parang we won't be forever relying on this product to grow. Syempre, right now, we're at a very, very small stage. We're like at 16 schools. Syempre, ang dream dyan is umabot tayo ng 100, 200, 300 schools in the future that are adopting it. Pero at the same time, Edusuite won't remain as a school management system. Kaya nga kami Edusuite, we're an education software suite. So parang abbreviation yan, di ba? So it's not just a school management system. We want to be a suite of all the edtech products. So once they've adopted Edusuite, di ba, what's to stop us na, do you need content? Do you need parang student loans? Or do you need other education products? Or do you need other like anything the school needs, di ba? Like would as a software or any of their education technology problems, we can help solve it for you, or we can have a product for you. Inuna lang namin yung school management system kasi ito yung, I guess, one of the biggest problems. I mean, learning management system, marami na di ba? Google even has a free one, di ba? Moodle has a free one. In fact, there are a lot of like yung mga Canvas or mga Niel that offers their own learning management system. Kasi the way you teach in other countries is also the same way you teach in the Philippines. Pero 'di ba yung mga pedagogies niyan pare-pareho lang yan eh. Pero pagdating sa school management, it's different per country kasi may kanya-kanyang workflow siya. So we wanted to solve that problem first because no one else is addressing it. So we solved that. Tapos at the same time, we want Edusuite to be a platform for other edtech products to be offered in the future.
Yeah, speaking of that, what's the vision ba? And what do you think is the future, not just of Edusuite, but yung edtech, yung education technology? I mean, maybe we can be a bit more creative and philosophical lang. Like, maybe in the future, like, how do you think students will learn? How do you think teachers will teach? I mean, let's just parang ano lang, be creative about it lang.
Right now, I mean, even schools are trying to figure it out, di ba? Parang, diba, sasabi na, it will never go back to normal, hybrid is the new normal, blended is the new normal. Parang even schools are trying to find a way. Pero if it was me, I think parang it will really, what's really the positive thing? I mean, there's a lot of negatives that happened during the pandemic, especially on the side of the school and the students. Kasi you really find that some of the students na hindi sanay or parang hindi kaya mag-aral mag-isa, they lose motivation, di ba? So that's like one negative part. Pero I guess one of the positive aspects is parang it really broke down barriers on where who can study where. So di ba, some schools na galing, di ba, for even if from tawi-tawi ka, pwede ka mag-aral sa Manila or something. So that's a positive thing, and I guess it opened up the minds of a lot of people on what can be done with technology. So right now, ang sa akin feeling ko, the technology, it's been around for some time, di ba? I mean, hindi naman bago talaga tong mga Zoom na to and whatnot, di ba? Pero ngayon lang talaga natuto ang mga tao how to use it. So feeling ko yung mga adoption pa lang, adoption is a big step for a lot of these schools, and syempre people wala pang nagagawang best practices in terms of blended learning. So people are still trying to figure it out. What's the best practice? Diba? Parang dapat ba flip? Dapat ba whatever? And once those are defined, you would start seeing other schools innovate on it. Parang what happened really recently was a lot of innovation happened because diba, yung mga government regulating agencies, we're also at a loss, di ba? Ano bang gagawin natin? So more of, kanya-kanyang diskarte kayo, di ba? So we saw a lot of grassroots innovations, di ba? Teachers trying to, use online tools, and schools having their own diskarte and how to offer. So a lot of the more innovative schools were really able to innovate. Ganon. And we're hoping na some of the other schools will be able to catch up. Kasi those that weren't able to innovate, ang dami rin nagsara, di ba? Yeah. Sa mga schools na to. So, I didn't really answer your question. Yeah, pero,
I think, and we just really put out the ideas there. But I want to ask your opinion on asynchronous classes or like online schools or like maybe yung like media like Coursera or like maybe YouTube. I mean, how do you think are those effective? What do you think? Are those kind of edtech effective in the future? Like online universities or like asynchronous type na you take your own courses and you graduate based on that? What do you think lang? I mean,
well, they're all effective in their own ways, but at the end of the day, it's about the how the student learns Kasi not all students learn the same way. I mean, I haven't looked at yung Coursera stats or what's the other Udemy stats recently, pero parang the last time I checked, parang less than 10% ng nag-take ng courses are actually able to finish it. That means the vast majority of students parang parang don't have the same learning style that they can study. Of course, for these less than 10% of the students, that's a very, very effective way for them to be able to learn new skills, diba? And a lot of jobs ngayon don't really require degrees to, you just need the skill to be able to do it. Pero at the same way, there's still a big demand, even with the schools na customers namin and even the schools I'm in touch with, and I guess like UP-ITTC, there's still a lot of demand for guided learning. So short courses na meron talaga instructors coaching you how to do it, how you should do. So that demand never really went away during the pandemic. It just became synchronous classes, diba? So there's still a big demand for that, and of course there's still gonna be big demand for degrees even post this pandemic. So right now parang nadidistribute lang. In the same way, nadidistribute yung ways of people learning. It's not, hindi na monopoly na, alam mo yan, to get a good job, you need to get a university degree.
But it's good, it's good. And also, para na match sa learning styles ng mga students din, di ba? Kasi magkakaiba naman tayo ng learning styles.
Yeah, exactly. So ganun, I mean, as long as students learn and as long as they upskill, I'm happy that medyo na-democratize yung way how students learn.
I agree. All right, so maybe let's end this conversation with a positive statement or a positive note. So, for you, Niel, how important is it to disrupt or to improve the way of teaching? And how important is it to use AI maybe to streamline yung school system, education system? So basically, how important is education in our society?
It's important to disrupt it kasi nakita niyo naman yung stats natin, di ba? As a country, sobrang baba natin in terms of, di ba, ranking in some of the key areas or key subjects. So really, we need a way to catch up. Really. And I guess like a lot of that would be like revising the curriculum and really changing the way we teach. I wouldn't say na AI is the solution or the be all and end all of that solution kasi at the end of the day, clients won't care whatever technology you use under the hood, diba? As long as will it solve my problems, will it be applicable to what I'm trying to do or how I'm trying to teach. So AI is not like the solution. It's parang how you apply technology or how will it solve the problems of the customers, and in this case the customers are both the students and the educators and the schools.
Yeah. And in my opinion, yung resource optimization kasi once you have that, you have more resources, you have more brain power, you have more manpower.
I guess what we're trying to take away is wala nang ibang iniisip yung deans at program heads, di ba? Dati parati nang iniisip, paano ba gagawin to kasi ang dami nilang logistical na iniisip. It would occupy like half of their time, di ba? Depending on the school. So right now, kung hindi na nila iniisip yan, ang iniisip na lang nila, how do I improve my program? How do I make my students learn better or get better jobs or whatever when they graduate?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a nice ender. So thank you, Niel. So if listeners want to know more about Edusuite, maybe some schools are listening to this conversation, so how they can know more about Edusuite, how can they contact you maybe?
Yeah, well, definitely email me. Well, hindi ko masulat dito, pero it's Niel, I before E, Niel at edusuite.asia, or you can email info@edusuite.asia, and definitely we'll get back to you. We want to help more schools as well.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Johnny.
It's a really educational episode. I really like this conversation. Ang daming enlightenment, ang daming wisdom. So thank you very much, Niel, and thank you very much to Edusuite.
Yeah. Thank you very much for everyone who listened or who is listening or who will be listening to this video as well. Yeah, thank you for the invite. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much to our 11 patrons. This episode is super powered by NutriCoach, the all-in-one productivity tool for dietitians and nutritionists, and Benjoy's Food Products, the home of premium bacon ends, tapa, and tocino. This episode is powered by ePlayment and Interleukin. Support us at www.patreon.com/startuppodcastph.